Okay, guys, this is part three of the Jeffersonian Republic lecture series. I'm going to jump right into this, start my clock again, so make sure I don't go over 10 minutes. Try to keep it as short as I can. Okay, the Louisiana, remember I did talk about when Jefferson, the contradictions of Jefferson. This is a big one, and this is a really one that you really need to understand. It shows up on AP exams, either in essay format, could be a DBQ and FRQ, part of a DBQ, part of an FRQ. It can definitely be in a multiple choice section of an exam of their portions of it. So it's something you really need to know. Basically, 1800, Spain gives away the Louisiana territory that it has back to France. Remember, just territory keeps going back and forth. Fortune for the United States is that Spain is the weaker of the two countries between Spain and France. We weren't really worried about the Louisiana Territory be existing or that Spain has control of it because they are the weaker country, and it would be pretty easy to take from Spain if we really wanted it. We could probably force our way. Spain just was not an empire that we had to really worry about, a force that we were going to have to worry about. They had become somewhat weakened. So dealing with Spain would have been as much easier, and I saw it as being much easier than having to deal with Napoleon and France. And basically, we would need allies if we were going to try to, have to forcibly take away from Napoleon and stuff. So remember, he has that anti-alliance, tailing alliance policy, much like his good friend Washington. So Jefferson moves quickly. He has to because this is kind of serious. This could be another foothold for France to actually get into North America again. So, and we don't want to have to deal with that all over again as we did with the French and Indian War. So he actually sends James Monroe to join Robert Livingston, who was actually diplomat ambassador with already in Paris. And he basically instructs Monroe and Livingston, listen, see if you can buy New Orleans. That way we can control the mouth of the Mississippi and any other land that they will be willing to sell us east of the Mississippi or east of New Orleans for possibly $10 million. Now that was supposed to be their cap was 10 million. They weren't authorized to go anything over 10 million. And the thing was the trump card that they were going to use against France was if France turns around and says no, we don't want to sell it to you. We want to control this territory. Then they were supposed to drop the kind of hints that, hey, listen, okay, if you don't want to do it, that's fine, we understand. But now we're going to have to open up negotiations with England for an alliance. Because basically Jefferson had told Monroe and Livingston and left to them in the day that France takes possession of New Orleans, we must marry ourselves to the British fleet and the nation of Great Britain. Remember, Jefferson doesn't have a big love. Remember, the Democratic Republicans don't have a big love for the British. They're more poor French, but Jefferson does recognize that this could be a really problem for them. So, the unlikelihood they're going to have an alliance with Great Britain, but they do use that. Remember, doesn't have any love for England, so they don't want the United States doing that as well. So we're going to look at two questions here. Why was New Orleans so important? And Napoleon decided to sell all of Louisiana, but why? Well, the first thing is, why is New Orleans important? As I mentioned earlier, the Mississippi River. Controlling the Mississippi River was really important. It keeps our commerce flowing from the western portion of the United States, so that east part of from the east over, from the Mississippi east over. So the Mississippi River is crucial, and we know that. So New Orleans is important about controlling that. Now, why does Napoleon do that? Well, first of all, he fails to reconquer Santo Domingo. There's a major slave revolt that has taken place, a successful slave revolt that took place, led by Overture. I'm not going to try to say his first name because I mess it up every time. So Napoleon kind of gets his forces get defeated there, mainly by disease and anything else. Yellow fever affects them. Um, so his forces are not successful there. He kind of loses that one. Plus, he's about to restart start a fight with England. Remember, that's one of the reasons he doesn't want us to end up having an alliance with Great Britain. And basically, because he's hoped Louisiana would one day make U.S. so powerful if he goes in and sells it to us that we would even join him or be able to challenge England's power and defeat England and weaken them. Again, France is looking at, okay, who's going to be the best on the sides to be on at the end if we were going to, if they wanted to defeat England, and having the United States be powerful enough to do it, to help them do it, or to eventually conquer England, would be great for France in the long run. So on April 30th, the treaty signed, which cedes all of Louisiana to the United States for $15 million. That's what Napoleon offers. I'll give you all this land, if you can see this map right here, all of the land for $15 million. And that's 3 cents per acre, 828,000 square miles for $15 million. Wow, that's just unheard of. And Jefferson is stunned. Um, first of all, they were offered just for simple New Orleans, right there at the Gulf of Mexico, and a little bit of land east from New Orleans, okay, for 10 million. But now Napoleon's going to give all this land for 15 million, a mere $5 million more than what he actually had authorized. But Jefferson's stuck because he's a strict constructionalist. He believes in a strict interpretation of the Constitution. The Constitution does not allow the president to buy land like that, so he's stuck. Contradiction. Remember Jefferson and his contradictions. Now, Jefferson does consider for a moment that, hey, listen, I could amend the Constitution or have the Constitution amended so it would make it legal for me to do so. But unfortunately, that would be a very long process. And remember, you got to get the states to ratify it, and that wouldn't be take the same length it would today. You got 50 states, but it still would have taken a long time for Jefferson to push this through and get the states to actually ratify it. So he's worried about the length of time. It would have been relatively short for that time period, but still, it might have been long enough that Napoleon would reconsider his offer and then take it back or want more money or whatever the case may be. So basically, Jefferson goes ahead and he submits the purchase to the Senate for approval. And of course, the Senate jumps all over it and they purchase it really quickly. And the thing is, though, that, remember, Jefferson does not have, there was nowhere in the Constitution gave him the authorization to do this or to purchase this land or any other concept of that. So therefore, Jefferson goes completely against his strict interpretation or strict constructionist ideologies of the Constitution, totally against what he actually said he was going to do. So Louisiana, in the long view, basically is that it avoids a war with France. That it does do. It avoids an alliance with England, which Jefferson did not want to really have to do. It doubles our land area. It sets a precedent for America's future because the acquisition of land by purchase, and then basically, and then the amount of land that's acquired through the Louisiana Purchase, and like I said, that doubling of that space is going to play a major part in the growth of the United States, the rapid growth that's going to take place. Now, in 1804, Jefferson sends out 2 explorers to chart U.S.'s newfound land. One is his personal secretary, Meriwether Lewis. I love that name. And the second one is William Clark, who's an Army officer. Now, the expedition takes about 2.5 years. It starts off in Missouri, reaches the Pacific, and Lewis and Clark are actually aided by Sacagawea. I always say her name wrong, and I really apologize to her because I love Native American names if I can pronounce them properly. Okay, but they gain knowledge of the Indians. They gather scientific data, the maps, and everything else. But it actually does create a path for thousands that would help follow helping U.S. lay claims, to the Oregon country. Now, this also sets up a whole new set of problems for the United States. Because with this land, remember, no one in this that was living within the Louisiana territory that we just acquired from France is ever consulted. Do you want to become a part of the United States? Do you want to belong to the United States? They were not consulted. You have a lot of Native American groups that are living there. You have some Hispanics that are living there. So no one is actually consulted in this thing. Again, it would have been impossible to do that. But the fact is that it's going to lay up a whole new set of problems because on the other side, too, is you're going to have where people from the east can begin to move west. Oh, wow, look, all this new land we can move through. And they're going to run into problems when they try to move westward because they're going to run into Native Americans that are living there. So this whole large group of problems that's laying right there for the United States. But do remember that it's it is the biggest land grab that we ever did, and for 3 cents per acre. So, I mean, it's pretty cheap. My time's almost run out, so I'm going to stop here for part 3. We'll get ready to do part 4, and we'll work on the trader Aaron Burr in part 4. Okay, I'll be right back.